I'm going to take the cauliflower off. And I'm going to show you how to do some pickled onions here. And also, you can make a crema for this. So I think I already made some. So I'm going to keep with that. But here you would just add some sour cream. So there's mine. You'll add sour cream. You can do the sriracha red pepper, cayenne pepper, black pepper. You can add some cilantro. And that's just going to be my sour cream for this. So I'll put it with my guacamole. So I know that's part of that for me. And you could just mix it all together. You don't have to do that though. So just keep that in mind. And then we're going to do pickled, oh, I forgot the cumin. Yeah, definitely want to put cumin in there. And if you have chili powder, you can do that as well on your cauliflower. And then for the pickled onions, you'll want to use some kind of vinegar, water, and a teaspoon of sugar and salt. And refrigerate. So, I have my jar. I'm not going to use a lot of onion, but I'm going to do just a couple slices and break them down. So, there we go. Where's my jar? Here's my jar. You know, you want to break it down so that you have the ringlets, right? Without the skin. So there we go. You don't have to pickle them if you don't want to. But if you are pickling, remember that you probably won't have probably won't be ready tonight for dinner. So if you're planning to have this tonight, you could just maybe consider just having regular red onions or doing it the night before next time. But you just really, for me, it's more just about putting some vinegar in there. The salt is good. But I don't need a lot of that. So, I'm going to put a little salt and then I'm going to put the vinegar. And then I am going to put the lid on and let it be. Okay, where's my vinegar? If you don't have vinegar, you can also use things that usually have some kind of vinegar in them, like a soy sauce or something. I don't see my vinegar, so I actually probably should do exactly what I'm suggesting. Some soy sauce in there. Okay. You put your lid and that's it. Okay. So, if you haven't already taken it out, I'm sure your crust is probably ready. At least for toppings. So go ahead and take it out. And yeah, it looks good so far. It doesn't have to be completely solid. It helps because you don't want the crust to end up going like into your mix, right? Your toppings. So I'm going to grab the Alfredo sauce and I'm going to just spread a thin layer on top since this is going to be like my pizza sauce. There we go. And if you do like in a circular motion, it makes it pretty easy to spread. You don't have to worry about trying to spread it yourself with the spatula like that. But also, I'm just going to go over the top too and make sure it's evenly spread. So, you add as much sauce as you'd like. Okay, that's beautiful. Kind of looks like a cake. And then we're going to add our toppings. So I got the broccoli. Now you could do this two ways. You can put the cheese on the bottom or the top. I like to put a little cheese on the bottom. But this time I think I am going to put most of the cheese on top. Just because we're using Alfredo sauce. So that already has that cheese aspect. So I'm just going to add everything else. You guys spread out your your onions, your garlic, if you have spinach. Like I said, I'm also going to add chicken. And, you know, if you want to build a salad with this, if you're like, I need more vegetables, go ahead and make a salad to go with it. Like I said, this is probably going to be my lunch, my weekend lunch. So you can add what you feel like would go best. But yeah. If you're like, this is going to be dinner, and I want to make sure that my family or myself is getting more veggies, then add more veggies. I'm also going to add some mushrooms here. These are already sliced, which is great. You can dice them if you'd like. I'm not, but you can. And it looks so nice. Like it just, for me, these are kind of, because I don't always just want to have a cup of nuts, even though nuts are really good for you. And so this is a great way to get those items without just having straight nuts. So I've used up most of the dark meat here. I love just having rotisserie chicken around because it's already cooked. So if I just want to be like, hey, you know, I'm going to make a sandwich or something, I already have a protein right here. And you know, sometimes I'm just like, I just need some protein after working out, and I'll take a piece of, that's why you saw how the breast was mostly eaten already. And that's because that's what I've been doing throughout the week, is just grabbing a piece of chicken breast after working out. And that's like my protein fix real quick. That's my protein snack when I'm in between meals. So you can do however it works for you. Usually the local grocer will have chicken already, rotisserie chicken already done, or you can rotisserie it yourself. I just usually go to Costco and get their rotisserie chicken, just because I like the flavoring. I like how they kind of infuse it with broth so that it has, it doesn't get dry very easily. So that's my go-to, but you know, you can, like I said, you can do it yourself. You can go to another grocery store. Usually they're between $5 to $7 for the whole chicken. And if you find like after the week you still have a lot left over, you can do like I'm doing today and add it to one of your meals. Cook it that way. So just something to keep in mind. You'll want to take the skin off if you can. I'm going to actually not use the legs and just use the parts of the thigh and not the wings. So I'm probably going to freeze those things so that I have them for another day. But yeah, so there we are. The beautiful thing about that is you can just put the bones and all of that in one thing and just throw the whole thing away, right? Like that's done. And it's really a simple cleanup that way too. So really a fan of the rotisserie chicken. If you can keep one in the fridge at home, it can be really easy too. And if you have kids, that's really easy to just say, look, you know, there's chicken in the fridge, you know, grab some of that, maybe put some broccoli with it. It just makes things easier. So, yes, love rotisserie chicken. So for this, I would usually use the breast, but as you can see, with my leftover chicken, I did not have the breast. And if you're vegetarian or you're trying to be more plant-based, omit the chicken. It's not necessary, but like I said, for me right now, I'm trying to get more protein. So I am going to keep it. But like I said, you can use garbanzo beans. You can use, there are great, or white northern beans. There are great alternatives to meat as well. So sometimes you just gotta experiment with flavors. And maybe next time I'll actually do it with white beans. because I think that would actually be an interesting flavor. So, okay, so I'm going to take my chicken, and the rest I'm just going to bag and freeze so that I have that for another time. So, you'll also want to use whatever pizza seasoning is for you. So I'm going to use oregano, black pepper, things of that nature. But you can use whatever you usually put on your pizzas. So, any kind of Italian seasoning usually works well. And then, I am going to so let me show y'all really quickly before I put it back in the oven with the cheese on top. Kind of what my pizza ended up looking like. And feel free to share, y'all, how yours turned out. But here's mine. Oh, I think you can see that. As you can see, it's still kind of moving, which means I probably could have left the dough to get a little more firm. But it's going back in the oven anyway, so that's okay. So, taking my cheese, and I'm going to go ahead and just apply that pretty liberally. Like I said, this will be when I'm actually craving pizza. I'm like, let me order a pizza. Oh, I actually have a pizza already made, so there you go. Okay. There we are. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So, pizza's ready for the oven. Gotta put that in. I'm just gonna let that go for probably like 20 minutes. Next thing we're gonna move on to is making these meatballs. So, I'm gonna get another skillet out. Also, well, let me put away my chicken, right? I said I was gonna use those for another day, another meal. So, good thing is, if it was raw chicken, you need to definitely wipe off the cutting board. But it's not, so we don't necessarily have to worry about that. You can wipe it off, but right now, like I said, sake of time, I'm not necessarily going to do that. So, there we go. There we go. Now chicken to freeze, or you can put it in the fridge. Mine has already been in the fridge for a couple of days, so I'm going to put mine in the freezer. But you can put yours wherever you see fit. Okay. Next, our meatballs. So, okay. Here we go. So I'm going to use ground beef for this. You don't have to, but I am going to. So, ground beef. And I'm going to use garlic clove, eggs, cumin, black pepper, cayenne pepper. Okay. You have some leftover, but I'm going to use my feta with this. I'm also going to put it in the jalapeno. No, I'm not going to do the jalapeno. I'm going to do garlic and then the olives too. So, okay. So far we've made 2 meals. We've done the Alfredo pizza. We've done the cauliflower tacos. We're going to do the meatballs to go with the leftover tabbouleh salad that we made last time. If you didn't check it out, check it out. We made it last week. I had some leftovers, so I said, oh, how do we do this? Maybe we can just add that to that. Add another protein to it. Or you can add noodles to this if you'd like. I'm just kind of trying to keep it along the Mediterranean theme. But you can do what makes sense for you. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and just take this out. Okay. We got ground beef here. This is about a pound, I would say. Okay. And this is grass-fed brown, organic ground beef. I'm also going to put the, and you can kind of tell, like, it's actually a richer color than what I've known in just non-organic ground beef. So there's that. And you can also put in olives. So the olives are actually supposed to be like this side here, or kind of like a garnish, but I'm actually going to put some of it in the mix as well. So you'll just want to fry these like you do any kind of meatballs, right? Like, you know, you can also put this in tomato sauce. I'm not, just because, like I said, it's going with the tabbouleh salad. So I really like meatballs just by themselves. So I'm not going to do that, but you can simmer it in tomato sauce and make it into like a whatchamacallit, sorry. And I'm going to, you can make it into like a spaghetti kind of deal if you like spaghetti and meatballs. I'm going to add some of that pizza cheese. This, so there's that. It's okay if you get some onion in here, because in fact I'm probably going to put more onion because we actually need more onion. We need some onion here, and like I said, it's going to be the same kind of seasoning for this as well. Oregano, cumin, cayenne pepper, black pepper. The feta is really the one that's kind of making it Mediterranean here, so keep that in mind. And I think I'm going to use my red onion because that's what we've been using. Okay, then you're going to also beat an egg. So actually, let me put that in there. Feta. Then we're going to do the onions. So next month I'm excited because it's, you know, Black History Month, and we're actually going to do recipes that I feel like are soul. So we'll do soul food, traditional soul food, but we'll also do food that I just feel like has soul. And for me, that's just food that has heart put in it. So anything to me could actually be a kind of soul food. But we will definitely be actually making some soul food dishes. And I'm hoping that a few of my elder friends will appear to help us out with that. So hopefully that'll happen. If not, it'll be me. But I thought it'd be an interesting experience to have folks who have been doing this for years share with us. You know, that is the beauty of cooking too. Like, I love doing it solo, but I really love cooking with other people. Just because I have found I've had the most profound conversations, even with people, especially people I didn't know that well, when we're cooking. Like, it's something about working with your hands and having something else to focus on that can lead to some really profound conversations. Because we're not under the same kind of pressure. The goal is to cook together. But, you know, if we end up talking, that's cool too. So, and I just realized I didn't put the spinach in my pizza. Womp womp. But anyway, that's fine. I'm actually going to use some of this olive juice in my meatballs. So there you go. Oh. So, and I don't really feel like chopping it, so I'm just going to do this. Do it however you want to do it, but this is going to work for me this time. And the cumin and the black pepper, and then we're going to go ahead and, where's my egg? So there we go, one more. Oh my goodness. There we go. So yeah, I hope that in the future we can also have some guests. But you all let me know kind of what you think would be cool to have folks, kind of groups of people on to talk about different types of foods and all of that. So, and I'll try to look at my network and see who's willing to share some of their insights as well. So, I'm going to beat this egg and keep it moving. I'm talking a lot today. Keep it moving. Where are we with time? So we're at 54. Okay, so we might get done in the next 30 minutes. So a little over 60. But we are almost actually finished, actually. So, you know, and you may say, look, I don't want to make any other options here. I got plenty right here. So if that's the case, cool, you're done. I'm going to do the fish sticks and the cauliflower mac and cheese and also the pork belly, but then I'm done too. So, and those are already kind of pre-made, so that won't be actually a lot going on there. So, going to mix this together. The tomato, or not the tomato, the olives, I had some mozzarella, I put some feta in there. Oh, you know what I'm missing? My crunch. So for me, you could use panko or breadcrumbs. I'm not. I'm going to actually use pork rinds for that, but you can even use crackers. Like, you can use whatever is kind of like a bready, crunchy consistency. So I'm just going to use these. And these are actually already seasoned too with sugar. So you can just crunch it with your hands. And that's the nice thing if you have little ones helping you. Like, they would probably get a kick out of doing this because, you know, they can make a mess and be really helpful in that way. So you'll want to mix it all together. So where's my cumin? My parsley. And I need my cumin. Oh boy. I don't know where my cumin is. Okay. I'll use my sriracha black pepper since that seems to be a star today. And then you'll want to put some olive oil in a skillet. Just kind of fry it. You can also do this in an Instapot if you got an Instapot. I'm going to just use my pan just because my Instapot isn't that big and I have quite a bit of ground beef in here. So there we go. Hope you can see that. And I'm going to put that. I already have a pan together. I'm going to put the olive oil. The olive oil get a little hot. And like I said, if you feel like your ground beef is kind of dry, then add some more of that olive juice to really infuse it, you know? Nothing's wrong with that. So I'm actually gonna add a couple more olives there too. So, okay. So, okay. Okay. So, you're just gonna roll them into little meatballs, right? So, you know, you can make them as big as you'd like, small as you'd like. I'm going to use this, I'm going to make them pretty big because I like big meatballs. But remember, if you make them bigger, it may take longer to cook. So small to medium is probably the best. If you make them too small, though, it may be hard to, they may easily break down too. So, you know, it's finding the balance. I'm just going to do a few different sizes because I want to kind of see how long it takes to cook. But generally, if you're trying to cook more quickly, you'll want to make smaller ones. And especially if you're doing something like an air fryer or something, usually you're setting it at 1/10 for one time frame. So usually smaller ones will work better because otherwise you'll have to reset for the bigger ones because more than likely they won't be done. So make sure you have plenty of oil, whatever oil you're using in the pan. And yeah, let it brown. This should take about less than 10 minutes to cook. And then you can check on your pizza. I believe my pizza's done, but it's not. And I'm going to go ahead and start dealing with this pork belly. For me, I'm just actually going to put the pork belly in my Instant Pot because I've already used plenty of pans and my stove is kind of cluttered, so I'm so grateful that I have an Instant Pot. Shout out to my dad. Because sometimes I like to go old school and, you know, be with the, you know, the stove or the crock pot. But it's also really nice to just be able to have something that I can also use that I can kind of set and forget about. But it's so quick that it's actually like, why would you forget about it? It's going to be cooked in a second. So, you know, that's something to keep in mind too. But it's just nice when you're meal prepping to have other appliances that you can use at the same time. Because on the stove, you know, you only have 4 eyes. So if you're making 5 meals, depending on the ingredients, you might need more than that. So it's nice to have appliance options, but obviously you don't need to either. We can still cook a great meal on the stove, or with just using the stove, or even not using the stove. I have like a grill, an indoor grill. I also have an air fryer. So technically, I've definitely had weeks in which I didn't even need to use the grill or the stove because I use the grill or the air fryer. So it's really about realizing that as well. Like we have to sometimes learn just to be flexible and use what we have. And to me, that's been a big life thing, you know? Sometimes I don't have all the things that I think I need, but I actually do have everything that I need. I just sometimes have to figure out how to use what I have. So, and then sometimes it's in that place of this is what I have to use and this is what I got that I create the most creative dishes. And I'm actually so proud of myself because I did. I made it, you know, in a way, and I expanded my, my thought process around it. Because I didn't sit and say, well, there's only one way to do this. Usually there's more than one way to do something. But we get stuck. We definitely get stuck. And, well, this is the way I always do it, so this must be the way it has to be done. And I was listening to someone, a spiritual leader on this, and he talked about the fact that we do get stuck. We get really set in our ways, and I thought about it for myself, and I consider myself to be a pretty creative, innovative person. But there are definitely times in my life in which I do get stuck, in which I do say, nope, I'm not going to do it this way, And when I ask myself really why, I don't have a great reason for not doing it. It's just I'm used to doing things a certain way, and sometimes I think we find comfort in that. But sometimes being comfortable keeps us stuck. So, I just kind of take that lesson not only when I'm cooking, but just in life in general. It's okay to do things differently. Doesn't mean that the way is better or anything like that. It just means sometimes we have to do things differently. Sometimes that's the only space we have. And that's okay. So give yourself permission to do things differently. Especially if that's all you have, Sometimes we have to say, this is where I am right now. Maybe next time I won't be here. And I can do something different. But today, this is where I am. So I'm going to go ahead and put my taco meat away since it's done. I'm also going to bag the rest of it so we can make burgers next week. And if you're doing 4 servings, you probably don't have any left over. So just be prepared next week to have another head of cauliflower. But for me, I am going to put this away. Save it for our breakfast. Or something else. And as you can see, this is kind of the trick to prepping. Sometimes we don't use the meats or our proteins. We don't use all of it. We just bag it so that we have it for another meal. So keep that in mind as well. Just because we cook it today doesn't mean that we're actually going to use it today. So, meatballs are cooking still. They're looking good. Oh, the catfish. That was the last one, right? That was the last thing we were going to do. Okay.